Hello everyone and welcome to the second day of the Freestyle Chess Go to Challenge of the Freestyle Chess Go to Challenge 2024. The quarterfinals, it is Levon Aronian versus Vincent Keimer. Yesterday they drew their game and it's the only game that did not have a decisive result. But while this is a miniature and you guys will love this one, I will just quickly spoil the results from two other games as they ended very quickly. And if you don't want to hear about that, skip some 20 seconds into the future. Fabiano drew his game against Gukesh, and as he won the previous one, that means Gukesh is out and Fabiano is going into the semifinals. And also Nodirbek Abdusattorov has eliminated Ding Liren. They drew their game, and of course, as Nodirbek won the first one, that means that he goes into the semifinals. Now, it wasn't that the game ended or anything. It's just that both Ding and Gukesh had a pretty bad position, and they had to agree to a draw. There was nothing more to try there. So that's the reason. But now let's check out this one. It's a miniature. You guys will love it. Levon with the white pieces opens with pawn to d4. We have pawn to f5 by Vincent, pawn to c3, defending the d4 pawn, and now pawn to g6. Makes sense as, of course, Vincent wants to free up his bishop pair as soon as possible. But interestingly, Levon doesn't do that. He just creates a strong center and he goes knight to d2. We have knight to d6 and a pawn to g3. Now freeing up the light square bishop and pawn to e5, striking in the center immediately. D captures, bishop captures, and now pawn to f4, chasing away the bishop while keeping the pawns on dark squares and having a wonderful light square bishop to roam in between. Bishop to g7 and now queen to d3. So very rapid development for Levon, and Vincent should continue in sort of the same fashion. He should play c6, the knight should move, then you will be able to play d5 or even keep the pawn there, maybe even play queen to d6 all for a queen trade. But Vincent played pawn to a5. He wants to play pawn to a4 to prevent the knight from coming to b3 or to, well, just kick it away to c5 as soon as possible. But Levon stops it. He plays pawn to a4 himself, and now the problem is you can't even develop the rook here. Okay, the rook can come to a6, but you know that the knight is coming to c5, will put pressure on the rook, and the bishops are nicely controlling the b6 and c6 square. So here it's very hard to find a move. Whatever you play, white is just better. And trying to go c6 now while you've already played pawn to a5 and weakened the b6 square, allowing bishop to b6 check, just isn't the way to go. You're going to get checked here, and after the king moves, then e4 will strike in the center, for example, captures, and it's just a very, very bad position for that black king, while white can just move the knight and then castle queenside and will have a very nice game. So in the game, Vincent played knight to e6, and now just knight c to b3. The knight, of course, wants to come to c5. Vincent played on the king side, played pawn to g5, and Levon castled queenside. We have g captures on f4, and now knight to c5. Not worrying about losing a pawn here. And instead of this knight to c5, you could also strike with pawn to e4. It's a bit more precise, as you do want this file opened up. For example, f captures on e3, en passant, bishop captures on e3, and now this knight cannot move. Bishop to g5 check would be very annoying, and it's, well, all in all, a very, very bad position. If this knight moves, then you have a nice rook-queen battery going after the d7 pawn, so this knight cannot move. All in all, a very nice position. But okay, Levon played knight to c5, also a great move, and bishop to h6, now threatening some nasty stuff with the king on c1. So Levon quickly tugs the king back to b1, f captures on g3, queen captures on g3, and now bishop captures on d2. Vincent wants to eliminate as many attackers as possible here. Rook captures, knight captures on c5, and bishop captures on c5. And now again, how do you develop here? Bishop to e6 seems to be the only way to continue the game for Vincent. All the other moves are just insufficient. But Vincent played rook to a6, and now Levon strikes in the center with pawn to e4. And it's just a very, very strong move. The problem with bishop to e6 now is that if you play it, then comes e captures on f5. And even if you capture with check, it doesn't matter. You're going to move the king to c1 and bishop back to e6. Seems like black should be fine, but here comes queen to h4 check, and after king to c8, queen captures on h7, and there's just no defense here. if you move the knight, then we're just gonna capture the bishop and play queen captures on d7 with checkmate, and you don't have any other moves. You can't go to b6 with rook. You can't go to c6. You can't develop your queen. Like we said, you can't really move the knight. You can't move the bishop because just captures. It's a unplayable position. Like rook d8, a very you know move that does nothing. You're just gonna capture on e6 regardless, and after d captures on e6, queen to g6, going after the e6 pawn, and then after, let's say, queen a8, you free up the b8 square for the queen, then comes h4, and the h pawn is just unstoppable. So there are many ways to win this, but yeah, bishop to e6, too late for that now. So Vincent plays f captures on e4, bishop captures on e4, and now he trades off another piece. Knight captures on e4 and rook captures on e4, and he hopes that rook 8 e6 holds, but the problem is it doesn't. Levon is completely winning here. However, there is only one way to win the game, so feel free to pause the video and find the only winning move for Levon while I give you a couple of seconds. So for those of you who were able to do it, congratulations on finding checkmate. And for those of you who just want to enjoy the show, it is queen to g7, going after queen to d7 checkmate, and there is no way to defend this. And before we continue, I would just like to mention that before Vincent played rook to e6, he also could have captured on e4, but that doesn't work because not because of queen captures on g8, which is also fine, but there's queen g5 check, and you just get mated. If you go here, then you no longer defend the e8 square for the rook to retreat, so queen captures on g8 will be deadly, and if you go here, then queen captures on g8 is just mate in one. So that's why Vincent played the rook 8 to e6, but now after queen g7, how do you defend against checkmate here? There's just no good way to do it. Even if you start giving up material with just going rook to e7, you're just gonna capture. Rook captures, and there's no way to recapture. It's just a dead lost position. So of course Vincent played pawn to d6, and now we reach the position from the thumbnail. And of course you guys know what Levon played, but finding queen to g7 was crucial, because of course you already calculated what happens if pawn to d6 once you've decided on queen to g7, and that is rook captures on d6. This is what Levon played, and it was in this position on move 20 that Vincent Keimer resigned the game, as there is nothing more to be done here. So really a tough loss, a heartbreaking loss for Vincent, actually, because he played a brilliant first 2 days of Rapid. He won second place behind Nodirbek Abdusattorov. He played a great first game against Levon Aronian, and now he just couldn't figure out his way out of this opening. So it's definitely one of the dangers of chess 960. Vincent made a deadly error in judgment by playing pawn to a5, and Levon just he was like a hawk, clinging onto the position, and he just did not let go for the rest of the game. And here you resign, because what do you play? You're in check. If you move, then this is just mate in one, so you can't do that. If you capture, let's say play c captures on d6, the problem is bishop to b6 check. And now after king to c8, the c file opened up. Rook to c4 with check. Only move queen to c7, and queen captures on c7 will be checkmate. And other than that, you really don't have a good idea. If rook captures on d6, you're gonna play rook captures on e8, and after king captures, queen captures on g8 with check, followed by picking up the queen on b8, and of course, again, this is unplayable. So yeah, 20 moves, brilliancy by Levon, and that's why Levon is one of the greatest players in the world, because you give him any position, and chess 960 literally is any position, and he will just, muster up a masterpiece here. So yeah, that's the game. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Brilliant stuff by Levon. Like I said, tough loss for Vincent. Especially since the tournament is in Germany, and he was really looking forward to doing well, and he's now eliminated in the quarterfinals, but at least he got second place in the Rapid playoffs. But yeah, I would like to thank David Benz, Robert Aratun, Doug Repka, and Baby Solomon, and Alexandru Gita and David Gasparian for your contribution to my channel. Thank you a lot, I really appreciate it. As usual, you can check 2 of my previous videos here. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you soon, continuing to check up on your wonderful suggestions and whatever else happens in the chess world. So thank you all, I will see you soon, and have an excellent rest of your day. And I see there's a D missing here in Doug, so sorry about that. Let me just fix that real quickly. There we go. Doug gets a D, and yeah, that's it. See you soon.